Hi, I'm Ken Howard, and welcome to the Gay Therapy LA podcast. Today, I would like to talk about gay men's relationships, 10 ways they differ from straight relationships. So, if you're in a gay male relationship or you're just a gay man, and you probably already know some of the ways that they differ from straight relationships, but maybe some of this will be helpful if we really talk about it, because it's all about the idea of success in gay male relationships. So with all of these, we want to talk about how an awareness of how, in general, there's always exceptions, but in general, how gay male relationships and straight relationships differ. It helps you to not try to, fit a square peg in a round hole kind of thing. In other words, there's a lot about the success of straight relationships that will carry over to gay male relationships. Things like honesty, sharing, good communication skills, lots of things about, how to make a life successful together. But there's some special considerations, and some of these are based on my opinions because I've been at this a long time. I've been doing therapy for gay male couples and for individuals. I work mostly with individuals, but I talk more and I write more about relationships, just kind of the way it goes. But I originally developed these 10 ways gay men's relationships differ from straight relationships as a result of just kind of thinking about the sum total of many years of working with gay male couples, what some of their issues were in therapy, and the solutions that they found to have a better relationship. So I want to share those with you today. And there's a lot. There's 10 of them, but we'll go over each of them, in turn. So, my experiences and observations as a gay men's specialist therapist might differ from other gay men or even from other gay male therapists. And we always have to be mindful of not indulging in unfair assumptions or stereotypes or even prejudices. But since making a relationship work, which I define in part as the relationship's level of satisfaction for each partner, in its overall longevity and just subjective relationship quality for each partner, it is at least in part based on a skill building process. Perhaps, my offering this perspective sheds some light on the skills required for a gay male relationship to not only endure, but to thrive. So here are my thoughts that come up over and over again in couples therapy sessions. Number one, money. Number one is money. Gay male couples can have a lot of conflict around money. There's another blog article on my website on gaytherapyla.com about when you and your partner's incomes differ greatly. So statistically, white men tend to be relatively high earners, and this is true gay and straight. While it's true that gay men in society often face discrimination, there can also be a lot of male privilege. The sexism that women can only earn a portion of what men earn, or not that they can, but they do, unfortunately there's what we call the income gap for the same work. This extends to both gay men and straight women. So both gay men and straight men will compete with each other regarding their financial success, however they define it. And this competition can be within those groups, between those groups, or even within the gay couple itself. It's hard to find a gay male couple where issues of competition don't come up, whether regarding physical appearance, comparing each other, social influence, or salary, income. So when money issues come up in a gay male relationship, I believe it's because all American men and elsewhere are still, even in our oh-so-modern times, expected to be the breadwinners. White men, especially middle class or higher in socioeconomic status, are socialized and used to getting their own way, among all demographics. Gay men of color face a dual challenge in managing social reactions and pressures both to being gay and people of color, and also gender expectations. It's a lot of potential pressures to face and to overcome. Now, straight men face a lot of pressure still to earn more than their wives and girlfriends. And conversely, a straight man who earns less than his wife can feel humiliated, jealous, or dejected, all from society's strong and ubiquitous messages about what it expects from men. It's not even up for discussion or conscious awareness, it just is. So when two gay men form a relationship, issues of each partner competing to be the breadwinner can arise. It's kind of like a pissing contest. There can also be an irony that the older, higher earning partner can be the sexual bottom role in the relationship, and it's in the bedroom where issues of power and control and dominance can be kind of played with or reversed or expressed. In every gay male relationship, there is overt power and there is covert or passive-aggressive power. And how these dynamics are expressed and the conflicts that can result are often the impetus for entering couples therapy. The gay men that I work with are often from mixed cultures and nationalities. I'm not sure why this is. I don't really think it's because gay male couples have more problems than straight couples, or even that a cross-cultural gay couple can't get by without couples therapy. Maybe it's the cultural differences. They add another layer of challenge that can be a source of conflict. But it also adds an extra layer of mystery and excitement and exoticism and fun. But along with cultural differences such as language, food, spirituality, traditions, habits, there can be cultural differences about money. So in couples therapy, differences and conflicts that arise about money issues on the surface are really about differences in culture, even just differences of family culture in the family of origin, even if both partners are the same nationality or ethnicity. Couples therapy helping a gay couple resolve conflicts about money often involves my helping the partners understand that their life is not a competition, or that one partner must dominate or be declared the winner. Rather, it's about helping men understand that in their household, it's not two I that live under the same roof. It's about forming the we. Forming a we where each partner is a 50-50 stakeholder in the relationship. And that can be hard for men, because in general, men are taught to control and dominate most relationships from the time we're little boys in ways that they don't even realize what they're doing. If you don't believe me, just ask a lesbian of color if that statement is true, and she can probably describe her own experiences of observing many examples of white male privilege, or just male privilege in general. So, there can be these issues of gender or ethnicity privilege that transcend being gay. Although it's also true that gay men can be at an economic disadvantage statistically. So we've got data that's kind of all over the map with some of this stuff. But unlike straight couples who up until recently had the monopoly on legal recognition of their relationships, before we had domestic partnerships and, of course, marriage equality, gay men were treated by the law as two individuals under one roof, especially for tax purposes. Straight married couples are socialized to blend their money more readily, and they have their parents' example and subtle behavioral modeling from their parents to follow. They're more likely to have joint bank accounts. Legally, they were the only ones before marriage equality who could do joint tax filing, state and federal, and automatic rights of survivorship on everything from their 401k plans or pensions to their Social Security benefits, and it was that way for generation. Gay men are socialized to think more individually, and the idea of blending their two individual incomes into one household income once they're coupled is kind of a mental and emotional hurdle that only softens, with increased time and increased trust. So couples therapy can involve brainstorming and identifying, evaluating, and implementing specific money management plans in the household so that each partner feels like he's making an equal contribution, even if there's a difference between partner A and partner B's incomes. Also, when I conduct couples therapy, I often recommend books and other resources for gay couples to increase what I call their financial literacy, making referrals to gay or gay-friendly certified financial planners or fiduciaries. That's an important credential in that world of financial planning. books on financial management by very trusted authors or educational websites. Motley Fool is one website about financial information. Some stuff on Forbes. And, of course, the money pundits. My favorites are Susie Orman, a lesbian, and Jane Bryant Quinn. A little bit lesser known, I think, than Susie Orman because I don't think she's on television. But both Susie Orman and Jane Bryant Quinn are really the go-tos, I think, for a number of really good books on raising your financial literacy and making you feel more secure about your money management for the long term. It's kind of easy to learn stuff. You know, I sometimes use examples from my own relationship with clients or from my friends, and I give examples on how gay couples have successfully increased their financial stability by increasing that financial literacy, their knowledge and skills in money management at whatever income level or age. You know, so you don't have to do it this way, but like my husband and I put equal amounts into a joint household checking account every week, and then everything with our household expenses comes out of that. But then we also have kind of separate salaries that we each earn, and some of that goes for things that are just, you know, of interest to each of us, you know, our own hobbies and things like that. But since we earn more or less the same amount, just in different fields, we contribute equally to the household account, and that tends to work for us, in addition to having our own individual checking accounts. So there's lots of different arrangements that can work, but my point is that sometimes couples therapy for gay men can include a discussion of making changes to how money is managed and, you know, what works for them as a gay couple that might look very different from their straight colleagues. So number 2 in the ways that gay and straight relationships differ is sex, kind of the big one. Gay male couples tend to approach sex differently from straight couples. We all know that gay male couples are much more likely to entertain the idea of or even be in a non-monogamous relationship. And part of this is cultural and historical. You know, part of this is the nature of men's sexuality in general, and I think, truth be told, many straight men would be non-monogamous if they were given the opportunity from their wives, you know, as I've learned from working with straight men in my practice. And some, just like gay men, take that prerogative even if it's directly violating a monogamy agreement. So gay men are much more likely in general to not only not be appalled at the idea of another person, another man, having sex with their partner or spouse, but to be turned on by it. You know, the whole sexual fantasy of cuckolding and things like that. Gay men have a greater capacity in general for sport sex and less about foreplay. Without a woman present, the sexual equation changes. You really can't directly compare a straight couple's sex life with a gay male couple's sex life because some things just don't translate culturally or physically or socially or emotionally. So part of my job in couples counseling is to help gay men understand this and to avoid making direct comparisons to straight relationships all the time. Some of the time is okay, particularly in confronting double standards and internalized homophobia. But part of my expertise as a gay men's specialist therapist is to understand the special cultural considerations of gay men. By this point in my life and career, in extreme detail of, you know, cultural competency of psychotherapeutic and clinical social work practice. By validating to a gay male couple that their sex life must be discussed not only apart from any heteronormative expectations, but also independently of even other gay male relationships by comparison, the couple can be reassured that the decisions and practices that they make are unique and customized to them. What works for one gay couple may not work for the gay couple next door. And there's no one proper cookie-cutter sex life for gay male couples that fits all. It takes communication and it takes negotiation, and not only at first, but also over time, because a gay male relationship, particularly sexually, can change over time. So, while this is true for straight couples, you know, issues of monogamy, frequency, type of sex, the vanilla versus kink spectrum, BDSM, and even time management discussions differ. So while this is not necessarily unique to gay men, a big factor can be finding time for sex, when often both partners are busy, high-level executives or professionals who work extraordinarily long hours. So I think also a view toward casual sex, and while some straight couples can be non-monogamous or open or swinging, you generally find more non-monogamy among gay male couples, because two men just, again, speaking in generalizations, but two men can just seem to tolerate that kind of arrangement better. Straight women oftentimes have a lot of resistance to anything that smacks of sharing their partner with another woman. So number 3, how do gay male relationships differ, is household chores. This might be surprising to how the issue of how to equitably and fairly divide a list of common household chores can be a frequent topic in conjoint therapy. While modern straight couples sometimes like to pretend that they are so liberated, in reality, in many, or I would say most cases, the woman is subtly expected to and ends up doing the majority of the household chores related to keeping things clean, organized, in good repair, supplied, delivered, monitored, and just kind of humming along. There's a certain quality of Mrs. Hughes from Downton Abbey in even the most liberated modern wife and mother, because again, men are still so socialized against these things in favor of being the primary breadwinner with duties outside the home, having, the office job. The more physical or mechanical duties of the house or car or yard, mowing the lawn, repairing something outside, something that's, physical and mechanical and traditionally masculine. Even straight couples who buck this are often very much aware, either with themselves or with other people's reactions, that they are indeed bucking the tradition or the societal expectation. So when two gay men form a relationship and have a domestic component to their lives, a home life, there can be friction about who does what and who is expected to do what in terms of household chores. There are no gender roles to point everyone in the right, I mean that facetiously, direction. So in couples counseling, when I work with a gay couple, I generally recommend that they develop a master list of required household chores to be written down, which is exhaustive and comprehensive. Things like who pays the bills, who does the cleaning, who supervises the cleaning by a cleaning person, cleaning lady or maid, who mows the lawn, who pays the gardener to mow the lawn, who supervises the gardener, who changes the light bulbs, who cooks, who cleans up the cooking, who grocery shops, who picks up the dry cleaning. For the affluent gay couples I often work with in Los Angeles, household help does many of these things. There's certain domestic chores that can't be delegated to anyone. Often, making a list and then discussing how to divide the items on that list can be a discussion at home or even in a couples therapy session. So, if one partner is a physician and works at a hospital 60 hours a week, and the other partner is a dancer who has many more hours free at home working on a freelance schedule and going to auditions and stuff like that, how much more of the household chores is the dancer expected to do? So in counseling, we have a discussion about what feels fair in a concept where both partners are expected somehow to be making a very subjective, equal contribution to the relationship. There's another episode on this, and a blog article on this, about when my partner isn't contributing equally. So you might be interested in that, how a couple resolves this idea that they feel like their partner is not making an equal contribution to the relationship. So, in my own relationship, my own marriage to my husband of 17 years as of 2019, I found that there are certain chores that each of us both like to do more and can do better. And it roughly falls into a 50-50 split. So maybe we're just lucky that way, but I am perfectly happy to pay all the bills online if he oversees keeping the dry cleaning delivered and picked up. One man's tedium is another man's relatively happy task. The challenge is trying to achieve a sense of fairness without one partner feeling humiliated by too much domesticity, being the wife kind of thing, which can feel like an emasculization. But why? I mean, that sounds like a concept that's right next door to misogyny, that something historically associated with women's work is somehow also associated with menial, humiliating work, as opposed to a necessary and vital component of having a clean and sanitary, healthy, comfortable, and just aesthetically pleasing home. So in counseling, sometimes issues of sexism need to be identified and processed out, and maybe issues of family of origin where perhaps one partner saw his mother abused by his father, and those dynamics carry over into that partner being especially sensitive about dominance dynamics. Don't treat me like your assistant, or don't treat me like your employee. This happens sometimes with gay male couples in therapy about this topic on household chores. And, there are emotional issues that underlie very practical chores that need to be done for the house to function. So sometimes there needs to be a discussion about, what does it mean? If you're the one who pays the bills, does that make you more masculine, like dad, who takes care of the household, the king of the household? Or if you're the one who cooks more, are you more like mom, stuck in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant with a little apron? We have to talk about sometimes what is the meaning of how household chores are divided, and are there kind of sexist or weird masculine, feminine overtones to how some of these chores are handled? Because with two men, it's just different without the expected, for better or for worse, male-female roles. So number 4 in how gay and straight relationships differ is kids. It's really only been relatively recently that gay male couples have had more and more social support for having kids, either through fostering or adoption or surrogacy. And, that's one of the big controversies in the news these days is, states that are trying to pass religious freedom laws that apply to adoption agencies for them to refuse adoption or foster care to gay couples. But a lot of states fight back against this because there are many, many, many kids in the system that need fostering and need adoptions, and they need to go to good homes. So anti-gay bigotry keeps a lot of kids in the system and prevents them from having loving homes. And so it's a big battle, politically. But, gay men can certainly have strong paternal instincts as adults. If you go to gaytherapyla.com, I have an article, and maybe I'll do a podcast episode about it, about how gay men still have a paternal instinct, and lesbian women still have a maternal instinct. We may not want to make babies with women, but we may still want to have children. So the paternal instinct is independent from your sexual orientation, and that's something that gay men sometimes need support to understand. So in gay male relationships where there is a parenting factor involved, they differ from straight relationships mostly in that same-sex parenting needs extra attention or support. So locally in Los Angeles, there's an organization called the Pop Luck Club, and it's a information and social support group for either actual or potential gay fathers. And, while straight couples are still, in this day and age, expected to have children, with pressure from parents or grandparents or siblings or peers or whatever, gay male couples are still kind of expected not to, in a lot of ways. That's changing with marriage equality, but there's oftentimes an assumption that a straight couple has kids and a gay male couple does not, and that's only slowly changing. In gay male relationships, there's no such thing as an accidental or an unintended pregnancy and parenthood. Parenthood in gay male relationships is oftentimes, a very well thought out, even arduous process to find the right adoption or surrogate circumstances. And again, there's a discussion of gender roles in terms of the responsibilities and chores that come into play with parenting. When I observe straight couples with children, I'm sometimes surprised how many chores just automatically go to the mother without any apparent discussion that fathers can also do some things that previously were the sole domain of mothers. For gay fathers, there are no gender stereotypes to guide the way, so the division of duties has to be discussed from automatically a more socially autonomous point. So how kids come into their lives, how kids are parented, and the roles and expectations of each partner are very different for two gay men versus for two lesbians even, or for a man and a woman regarding kids. Number 5, in terms of how gay male relationships and straight relationships differ, is family. The role of the male partners in taking care of aging parents can be an issue similar to straight couples, but in family relationships with the in-laws in a gay male relationship, there can sometimes, not always, be differences in how the in-laws react to the gay thing. And while some in-laws in straight relationships can be hostile to the man or the woman their family member marries for all kinds of reasons. They're a different ethnicity or religion or socioeconomic status or nationality or profession or even a political affiliation. The stakes are higher for gay male relationships because there just seems to be one serious homophobe in every family. I've worked with a lot of guys on this. There just always seems to be one somewhere. So gay men in relationships are often called upon to set limits and confront any overtly or even subtly hostile behavior toward their partner or spouse. And this puts extra pressure on gay male relationships that straight couples can have, but it's not as likely. Fortunately, for most of the gay couples I've worked with, there have been a surprisingly few seriously hostile in-law conflicts. A lot of times, a same-sex partner is integrated into their husband or partner's family and becomes really one of the family. We're seeing this more and more with marriage equality, and that's how, gay rights, I think, have moved along with straight allies, is because we've seen how same-sex partners are integrated into families. But once in a while, there are some hostile in-law conflicts. And so, sometimes in counseling, any issues of a family member conflict can sometimes be addressed through role plays or role reversal and rehearsal, or even sometimes family therapy. So, the role of family and how everybody gets along is just, the stakes are raised a little higher. And then I think it gets even more complicated if you not only have a same-sex partner, but a same-sex partner who's very different from the family, a different ethnicity, if there's an age difference, a cultural difference, a nationality difference, then there's just more to discuss. And sometimes the gay male couple has to have a talk about the expectation that they have your back. If, Uncle Nathan is making homophobic comments with your same-sex partner there, somehow you have to set limits on it. You don't just, let your partner or spouse be disrespected by someone. And sometimes that has to be, worked through in couples therapy. Number 6, in terms of how gay and straight relationships differ, is work. So in gay male relationships, it seems to be more accepted overall that work has to come first. Busy male executives, straight or gay, have been socialized that it just comes with the job to work late nights or weekends or even doing some work on vacations. I've observed and I believe that sometimes gay men in relationships capitulate to work and bosses and give more of their time than straight husbands and fathers do, which can be a very, very subtle form of internalized homophobia, where a gay male will fail to set limits with work, but a straight father will set limits on leaving a meeting early to be at his kid's school play or to meet his wife for an anniversary dinner. Again, this is a generalization, but after, decades now, 27 years of doing gay men's couples therapy, I see this kind of double standard too often. I sometimes counsel gay male partners that if a straight man would not capitulate to an intrusive and demanding boss's request, a gay man shouldn't either in the same situations. So I call this in couples work making your relationship work on 4 levels: emotionally, physically, including your sex life, domestically, like we talked about a while ago with work and household chores. And a fourth area that I call managing the other. And sometimes gay men in relationships have to manage anyone who is the other who undermines their relationship. And this can be an intrusive in-law, noisy neighbors, flirtatious twinks in clubs or bars or social events that are undermining your relationship, sometimes with your partner standing right there. Or a boss who doesn't respect his or her employee's personal time, especially when that boss would respect the personal time of a straight employee. If sometimes bosses can, understand if a straight employee needs to leave work early for his anniversary dinner, but maybe might not be as understanding when it's a same-sex partner, because that doesn't count as much. And that's with homophobic bosses, but sometimes that happens, and gay men have to kind of assert that they have the same rights as straight people in the workplace. So number 7 is fun. Gay men and relationships and straight people differ when it comes to fun. One huge and consistent benefit I've observed in gay male relationships over straight ones is that gay couples consistently demonstrate a youthfulness and a playfulness and a sense of fun, especially with peers, but also alone with each other. Dancing in clubs, going on gay cruises that have fun activities, maybe having sexual three-ways, attending fabulously creative charitable events, experiencing new dining adventures, celebrating birthdays or anniversaries in creative ways, elite athleticism, indulging their pets, doing pristine home improvements, world travel, and exploring nature or extreme sports are just some examples that gay men have fun. Now, some of this could just be the economic privilege that comes with dual male salaries and no kids, but I also think it's because gay men tend to have an adventurous, creative, youthful, even sometimes age-inappropriate, and exuberant spirit. When both partners have these traits, the things that they can dream up to do together can be extraordinary. That some of the activities, like the squirt gun party on Atlanta's gay cruise that I was on, you had these adult, sometimes middle-aged or older gay men, but it was like a bunch of little boys on the playground squirting each other with squirt guns. And I just don't think straight people do that quite as much. Gay men really know how to party, and they really know how to have fun. Halloween parties with costumes, or theme parties with decorations, or again, costumes. We're really into those. And so, there can be this real youthful spirit in approaching how gay men have fun. As the Atlantis cruise's tagline goes, the way we play, which is very different, as the crew on the ships would say, from when they have the straight cruises. The gay cruises are more fun, they always say. So number 8 is stimuli. Similar to the fun element we just said, even if sometimes considered age inappropriate, gay male couples often have a more liberal approach to things that stimulate and challenge them, particularly physically. So this can include substances of all kinds, mostly alcohol, but also recreational drugs or even exotic foods or trendy diets. Men in general are physically larger than women, so they can go through a lot of alcohol and food at events. There were stories about the first all-gay cruises running out of alcohol on board because they just weren't used to that. So whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I do think gay male couples have a particularly broad tolerance for indulging. A friend of mine once said that he believed that gay men had particularly evolved critical thinking skills. He said that if we can go through all the soul-searching and challenging societal heteronormative expectations enough to come out when we're young men, usually, we can never again approach much of anything without the ability to examine it very critically, weighing the risks and benefits of just about anything, from substances to charity athletic challenges to extreme recreational sports, and thinking and acting for ourselves. The theatricality that some, not all, gay men can be known for, or the larger-than-life aspects of drag performance, or strong stimuli in BDSM play, they all reflect this masculine affinity for stimulation. And this can be, just a part of any group of men together. But I think particularly with gay men, it's about seeking this very kind of masculine, testosterone-fueled, stimulation of going for it. So number 9, in terms of how gay and straight relationships differ, is appearance. Unlike straight couples and similar to the above competition about money that we talked about, gay men can have an inherent sense of male competition when it comes to physical appearance, like with the preening peacock. So men in general, straight and gay, are just more visually oriented than women, hence the popularity of the billion-dollar porn industry. While two gay men might love one another in their relationship, they still subtly compete with one another to others, like most males in the animal kingdom. How many times have we seen gay community examples where one partner has the money and the other partner has the looks? This can be a certain mutual benefit, but it can also be a source of competition or even resentment of what the other has that he lacks. We want to make ourselves attractive to others, but to each other, but we also tend to want to be recognized and admired in our own right by others. Think of famous gay men like Oscar-winning screenwriter Dustin Lance Black and Olympic diver Tom Daley. They would each want their own kind of day in the sun and their own fame for each of their skills. One a skilled writer, the other one a skilled athlete. And this can at times be unhealthy, but there is such a thing as a reasonable or healthy narcissism. A healthy narcissism is that, everyone likes to be told that they look good with a new haircut or a new outfit that suits them. Straight couples aren't judged by a direct same-gender comparison by their friends the way gay male couples are side by side. Traditionally, women face more pressure than their husbands or boyfriends to look good. Women face constant pressure to look good, especially as they age. Joan Rivers was big on that. She said, you have to look good. There's no two ways about it. In gay couples, they are expected to look good as a handsome couple together in direct comparison to each other. Some gay male couples work out together, share clothes, serve as each other's personal stylist, or debate the latest and most effective grooming products. One of the biggest concerns of modern urban gay male couples, culture, is that it is one big beauty contest, which at its worst can provoke things like eating disorders, or body dysmorphic disorder, or steroid abuse, as opposed to reasonable medically supervised use. There's a big difference there. That's something I talk with gay male clients about. Steroid use is not always bad, but there's certain risks if they're used indiscriminately. And medical supervision and kind of doing it right is a really important part of bodybuilding or testosterone supplement therapy as men get older. So, but there can be these abuse situations because men are feeling the pressure to look a certain way. There can be self-consciousness and this kind of warped perspective of your personal worth. I'm beautiful, therefore I'm good. I'm over 35, therefore I'm worthless. We have to look at what is there for in these situations. So for gay male couples, loving and accepting the self individually and in the context of each other and society at large can be a challenge, because there's just that direct comparison of male to male in the couple. Which one's prettier of the two? Whereas in straight couples, they don't really have that because you have that gender difference. So number 10 of how gay and straight relationships differ can be politics. I think gay and male couples are just simply more affected by politics and changes in laws and changes in society than even straight couples are. We hear in the news almost every day something that could potentially damage our legal status, and straight couples don't tend to be affected by laws almost daily like that. Every state that legally embraces marriage equality affects gay couples in that state, even with ramifications outside of that state. Especially before we had national marriage equality, and some states had marriage equality and others didn't. The local politics affected these couples very very, vividly. And that's one of the risks with the right wing taking over the Supreme Court, is the fear that marriage equality would be reversed nationally and left up to the states. So, when we watch the evening news or read news outlets, or Facebook or on our phones or whatever, they're talking about LGBT people and our rights almost daily, even though we are numerically a minority in society. Most straight couples do not wake up every day to the news of some idiot Republican politician or some religious conservative, usually Christian, but sometimes Muslim or other, calling them vile names and advocating for their legal and social demise as we do. That just puts an extra stress on the day for gay male couples, in addition to the fact that the internet service provider is down or that the cat just threw up on the carpet. It's just an extra stress that gay male couples live with politically. And, I found that gay male relationships need to identify other couples, gay or straight, but particularly other gay male couples who can be a part of their collective support system in the face of these negative and, seemingly constant hate rhetoric. So gay male couples tend to be more politically aware and even more politically active, attending protests or writing letters, attending fundraisers, observing boycotts like of Chick-fil-A or some of the other anti-gay organizations. The recent one in the summer of 2019 against Equinox Gym, who one of their owners, gave a donation to Trump. So, Chick-fil-A being the big one, who, they donated to a lot of viciously anti-gay causes. And, but there have been a lot of LGBT-related boycotts because their owners have supported anti-gay legislation, in terms of civil rights laws. But they just tend to be more politically active and more woke than straight couples overall, because for gay male couples, their rights and their existence are challenged every day with a certain urgency and immediacy that, straight couples are generally spared. They don't have their legal civil rights threatened on a daily basis somewhere in the country the way that gay couples do and other LGBT people. I always say, with all the stressors on gay male relationships from gay community dating and all the sexual drama and all the political culture wars going on nationally and globally, it's a wonder gay male relationships ever form in the first place, let alone endure and endure happily. But, gay men's relationships do form and endure, and they last happily, often without my help at all. But, when they need help, I'm here, and that's what I've been doing for over 27 years. And I consider it my honor and my privilege to work with these guys, to make a study of what makes gay male relationships work, and to help the ones that need help to say, can we take our relationship to the next level? Can we reduce drama that is the cause of a lot of heartache? And can we increase things like good feelings and intimacy and fun? So I'm curious about what some of your experiences are, with these 10 items. To recap, let's look at what we've looked at today. So we looked at issues of money, of gay and straight relationships differing. We looked at sex. We looked at household chores. We looked at the role of kids and parenting. We looked at family and in-law relationships. We looked at work and careers. We looked at the sense of fun and the sense of stimuli, roles of appearance. How does appearance affect our relationship with each other or with ourselves, and politics. So I would love to hear your comments about this, and if you're a couple or even an individual that wants some support, either in therapy in California or coaching anywhere in the country and anywhere in the world, really, if we use a webcam or the phone, please, feel welcome to get in touch. You can call me or text me, 310-339-5778, or you can email me at ken@gaytherapyla.com. Or if you visit gaytherapyla.com, the website, there's a little box for getting in touch with me, and I would love to hear your comments on the podcast comments section or on the website too. So I hope you found this helpful, and however ways that gay male relationships and straight relationships differ, I hope we can form them and appreciate them so that they not only endure, but endure happily. Good luck with that. Thanks.